Angie has made it easier than ever to connect with skilled professionals to get all your jobs projects done well. If you own a home, you know how much work it can take, whether it's everyday maintenance and repairs or making dream projects a reality. It can be hard just to know where to start, but now all you need to do is Angie that and find a skilled local pro who will deliver the quality and expertise you need. Angie has over 20 years of home service experience, and they've combined it with new tools to simplify the whole process. Bring them your project online or with the Angie app, answer a few questions, and Angie can handle the rest from start to finish, or help you compare quotes from multiple pros and connect instantly, which means you can take care of just about any home project in just a few taps. Because when it comes to getting the most out of your home, you can do this when you Angie that. Download the free Angie mobile app today or visit Angie.com. That's ANGI.com.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Whether you're selling a little or a lot, Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. From the launch your online shop stage, all the way to the we just hit 1 million orders stage. No matter what stage you're in, Shopify's there to help you grow. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/special offer, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/special offer.
Hiding in plain sight. I'm Jason Horton.
I'm Rebecca Lieb.
And this is Ghost Town.
The last thing Lee Wainscott expected was a police officer to approach her at work. It was January 2005, and the newly divorced single mom was confused, with law enforcement asking her to identify a picture of a man who was her boyfriend. "That's John," Wainscott said, concerned. But she was crushed to learn that John was not her boyfriend's real name, but that his name was actually Jeffrey Manchester, an ex-U.S. Army Reserve officer turned escaped convict who, for the last 6 months, had been living inside a hidden room he'd created in a nearby circuit city. Today on Ghost Town, the bizarre crime spree of Jeffrey Manchester. Born in Sacramento in 1971, Jeffrey Allen Manchester had a typical California childhood, attending high school in Rancho Cordova before enlisting in the U.S. Army. There he served in the 82nd Airborne Division, where he learned rappelling, weaponry, and other skills that might come in handy as a future serial burglar. But I'm getting ahead of myself. At age 20, Manchester got married and had some kids, settling into a quiet family life. But that would all change in 1999, when Manchester's wife called 911 for a domestic disturbance, fearing for the safety of her household. Manchester's wife then filed for divorce and received full custody of their children. That was the end of Manchester's experiment with a type of normalcy. From there, he went on the road. Though he robbed a couple McDonald's as early as November 1998, before he had split from his wife, without his family obligations, Manchester became a full-fledged criminal, nearly immediately on PD's radar. Over the course of 7 months, Manchester hit over 50 restaurants, mostly McDonald's franchises, for a total score of $100,000. Not only that, he had a distinct MO for his robberies. His heists were meticulously planned out and always included drilling, hacking, or sawing through the roof of his target at night or in the early hours of the morning, dropping into the establishment, sometimes through ceilings around 15 feet tall, and waiting, often in a restroom, for the first workers to come in. Once Manchester believed the store had opened and normal activities had commenced, he would bust out of the bathroom with a gun, holding up the McDonald's or whatever establishment workers, before ushering them into a freezer. Then he'd lock the frightened and shocked employees inside before looting the cash registers. This gave him the ominous nickname of the Roofman, but that was just the beginning. I'd also be remiss if I didn't add another curious detail I found in my research. Not only was Manchester known for his skilled and efficient infiltration of McDonald's and other restaurants, but he was also, oddly enough, known for his polite demeanor. According to his victims, Manchester would remain composed and gentle, almost never resorting to violence through his, again, estimated 40 to 60 robberies across the country. Later, people who had been working at some of his target restaurants say that Manchester suggested in the moment that they wear a coat before he locked them in the freezer. Quote, he was really polite. He was apologizing, called one McDonald's manager. Quote, he said, would you please, ma'am, get on the floor? Would you please, ma'am, get down? At the end of his raid, Manchester would call the police to alert them of the confined workers and vanish into the cold light of day. Manchester first began targeting restaurants in Northern California, but he occasionally expanded his range to Oregon, Nevada, Virginia, and eventually Massachusetts. The Roofman had a, quote, coast-to-coast reputation as the most courteous thief in the nation, the Sacramento Bee wrote. In May 2000, Manchester enlisted in the 481st Transportation Company, an Army Reserve boat unit, for an annual training exercise in North Carolina. Shortly after midnight on May 20th, Manchester dropped through the roof to rob a McDonald's in Gastonia, North Carolina that had closed for the night. 5 hours later, and 10 miles away, he targeted yet another McDonald's that was about to open. Now, detectives across the country suspected their man was military trained, especially because he could fall from the roof to the floor and not really be phased or feel any impact. Quote, he was extremely fast, strong, and had kept his cool when cornered, the Bee reported. At least one investigator believed he never would be captured. But he did, in the town of Belmont, North Carolina. As Manchester escaped a robbery on foot, police followed, eventually finding him hiding in tall prairie grass. Even when captured, Manchester was oddly gracious. Quote, you guys did a real good job today, he told the arresting officers. Eventually, Jeffrey Manchester was sentenced to 45 years in prison for robbing the two McDonald's, primarily due to the kidnapping charges attached to the case, and was incarcerated in North Carolina. Quote, he came to the wrong place when he came to Belmont, a local detective said. And for 4 years, Manchester continued to be polite and gracious, a model prisoner, really, which eventually allowed him access to the metal plant where inmates made bed frames and jungle gyms. In June 2004, a delivery truck arrived at the plant, and Manchester slipped under the truck, gripping onto the undercarriage of the truck which carried him out of the prison gates. This dangerous but polite criminal was unleashed again onto the world. And believe it or not, what would come next for Jeffrey Manchester would be even more memorable. Where he went and what he did after this break.
Angie has made it easier than ever to connect with skilled professionals to get all your jobs projects done well. If you own a home, you know how much work it can take, whether it's everyday maintenance and repairs or making dream projects a reality. It can be hard just to know where to start, but now all you need to do is Angie that and find a skilled local pro who will deliver the quality and expertise you need. Angie has over 20 years of home service experience, and they've combined it with new tools to simplify the whole process. Bring them your project online or with the Angie app, answer a few questions, and Angie can handle the rest from start to finish, or help you compare quotes from multiple pros and connect instantly, which means you can take care of just about any home project in just a few taps. Because when it comes to getting the most out of your home, you can do this when you Angie that. Download the free Angie mobile app today or visit Angie.com. That's ANGI.com.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Whether you're selling a little or a lot, Shopify helps you do your thing, however you cha-ching. From the launch your online shop stage, all the way to the we just hit 1 million orders stage. No matter what stage you're in, Shopify's there to help you grow. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/special offer, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/special offer.
Hi, hello, how are you?
Hello.
How are you doing?
How's it going out there?
Ooh. We want to say hello to anyone who's listening. Supporting us, spreading the good word of Ghost Town.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you from the bottom of our tiny little hearts.
They're very small.
It's very small. They're getting smaller.
I mean, I'm proud.
Yeah.
Proud of my small heart.
Yeah. Small but not proud. I'm not proud.
Okay. You're ashamed.
Small but not proud.
Yeah, okay. That's great.
But what I'm 100% proud of, and I stand by and I salute.
Ooh.
I stand up and I salute. Is our government.
Wow.
Especially the mayors. Yeah, they're my favorite. But our mayors, they have criminal
Criminals.
past.
Oh, yeah?
But very polite as well.
Oh.
Very, very courteous.
Wow. Okay, we're talking about a lot of very polite criminals today.
This mayor's former criminal past is when she was involved in the disappearance of Jimmy Hoffa.
Oh, well, that's pretty big.
And when the police said, "Can you tell us where Mr. Hoffa is?" she said, "I'm sorry, but I must politely decline."
Oh, yeah, they're like,
All right.
and they went on their merry
Yeah,
way. They're
well-
like, well, I'm sorry we asked.
Yeah, that's Ashley Madsen.
Hello.
This mayor's criminal past goes back to her involvement in the SLA, the Symbionese Liberation Army, with
Yeah.
Patty Hearst.
Patty Hearst, yeah.
Yeah, she was in it. She wore a beret.
Mm-hmm.
And when the police said, "Hey, can you stop shooting at us?" she said, "I must politely decline your request, and I will keep shooting." They're like, "Oh,
Okay, well,
Okay.
thanks for letting us know.
Yeah. This is her real name and also her name as part of the SLA, Kat Joselle."
Nice.
This mayor's criminal past was on the road, and she was a Hell's Angel.
Ooh.
Slang and H. Pushing hardware across state lines.
Wow, okay.
Big guns, automatic weapons, H, tons of H.
Wow.
Slang and H.
Whoa.
So, China
Slang
White.
and H.
China White. All the stuff. Pushing reds.
Well, I'm getting
pills.
high just listening to you.
Yeah.
Woo!
And some of it was marijuana. Yeah.
Take that back.
No.
You didn't mean it.
I did.
Not on the airwaves.
No. And when the Department of Tobacco and Firearms were like, "Hey, can you please stop slanging H?" she was like, "Officers, I'm so sorry, but I must politely decline your request." And they're like, "Oh, that's Kelly Meehan."
Hello.
This mayor's criminal past was when they were part of the Enron scandal. Was part of the insider in Enron, just liquidating people's monies
Yeah,
left
just taking it and making it disappear.
going bye 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 up there in that corner office.
Mm-hmm.
And when the IRS were like, "Hey, stop laundering all that money," she was like, "Ladies and gentlemen of the IRS, I regret to inform you, I respectfully decline
Wow.
your request." And they're like, "Oh,
Ladies and gentlemen of the IRS.
it was a different time."
It was a different time. They were multi-gender IRS workers.
Yes.
Not anymore.
No, now it's just they're just one entity now. They're just
Yeah.
like an eye in the sky.
Yeah, Big Brother IRS.
Well, that's Casey Weber.
Hello.
This mayor's criminal past, back to being a organizer for the Fire Festival.
Nice.
Didn't know it. Was part of the organization
Wow.
of the Fire Festival. When essentially the world at large said, "Hey, can you give us back our money and time for scamming us for something that you knew wasn't going to happen way before we all showed up?"
I think I know what they say.
Well, respectfully, I must decline to give you a refund or an apology.
Wow.
Oh, with all due respect.
With all the respect to you.
Yes. And unce to you. That's Matthew Clemens LeRae.
Hello.
When this mayor's criminal past is rooted in government, that's kind of makes sense. They're still in government.
Yeah.
Was part of the conspiracy to kill JFK.
Wow.
And when nobody asked, "Hey, can you let us know what actually happened?" they said, "I'm sorry, but I must respectfully honor your request to not tell you what actually happened to JFK and stay part of the conspiracy." And they're like, "Good. Keep it that way."
Honoring your... I mean, here we go.
Diabolical.
Conspiracy talk for sure.
That's Marissa Rothermel.
Hello.
And then our governor.
Ooh.
Sitting there in Bohemian Grove.
That's right. On the big throne by the wooden owl.
Probably with some kind of big crown thing.
Yes.
And there's just people carrying people and rituals.
Yeah, there's a lot of like cloaks and sleeves and jewels and masks
So many masks.
and vino.
Yeah. The vino will flow. And when everybody showed up to Bohemian Grove and said, "Hey, can you tell us what's going on here?" Our governor said, "Nothing. Those people disappeared and were never seen by again." Because our governor doesn't answer questions.
Not respectfully, not disrespectfully.
Does not answer questions, doesn't talk to cops, doesn't talk to the feds, doesn't talk to the IRS. They ask our governor, please?
Yeah. Can we still exist?
Please?
She goes, disrespectfully.
Maybe. That's our governor, Avian Noble. If you want no ads, no chit-chat, bonus episodes, just the good stuff. 7 days free. You can bail in and bail out. Who cares? And you don't have to listen. You can do it disrespectfully if you want to. We don't care.
Yeah, we won't know.
We won't know. Head on over to patreon.com/ghosttownpod.
Let's get back to some crime in North Carolina, where we have maybe 60-time restaurant robber Jeffrey Manchester sentenced to 45 years and had escaped after 4, riding through those prison gates. Investigators could not believe it. Or could they? PD thought Manchester might be making his way back to his hometown of Sacramento, where his ex-wife and kids were living, but nope, that would not be the case. Instead, Manchester fashioned himself a hideout inside of a local Toys R Us. According to SF Gate, quote, the store at 6100 East Independence Avenue in Charlotte had everything he needed. There was baby food to eat, bikes to ride at night for exercise, and remote-controlled cars to race around the roof when he was bored. He opened up packages of baby monitors and used them to watch the employees come and go. There was also a bit of serendipity. The Circuit City next door was permanently closed. Manchester then expanded his realm out of the Toys R Us and into the Circuit City, tunneling in using a spring-loaded board and a bungee cord to make a door to the tunnel. Inside the vacant Circuit City, Manchester used Toys R Us merchandise to decorate a stairwell space fit for a 10-year-old. Again, according to SF Gate, he made a bed with Spider-Man sheets, put up a Superman poster on the wall, and arranged toy models of Yoda. His stack of DVDs included Matchstick Men, 40 Days and 40 Nights, and Spider-Man 2. To avoid an accident that would lead to his detection, Manchester installed a smoke detector and a fire extinguisher. He traded a 4x8-foot cell for a 4x10-foot preteen heaven. End quote. But after a few months of his mixed-up files of Mrs. Basil E. Frankweiler life, did anyone else read that as a young adult? Just me? Manchester got restless, so he decided to start going to church. In October 2004, Manchester became a member of Crossroads Presbyterian Church, telling other churchgoers that he worked for the government. In fact, that's what he told Lee Wainscott, a congregant who had recently ended a 20-year marriage and was juggling life as a single mom. One day in October 2004, John, as he called himself, and Lee connected there, under the watchful eye of Jesus Christ. She would later tell the Charlotte Observer that John was, quote, funny, romantic, the most sensitive man I've ever met. The guy that every girl would want. They were soon going on dates at Red Lobster and spending their evenings at Lee's home watching movies. When she wanted to see his place or would ask, Manchester said that his place was, quote, a government building, a sterile environment. But she didn't mind. After all, he seemed to have a bottomless budget for toys and a spirit of generosity. Lee's kids were always getting gifts, and when Christmas rolled around a few months later, Manchester donated more items to the church toy drive than anyone else in the entire congregation. To steal so much inventory, police believe that Manchester changed employee schedules at the Toys R Us, likely hoping to create windows where he could roam freely. And guess what? Manchester also expanded into his new Southern life, beyond church and his girlfriend and his Toys R Us Circuit City dual home. He frequented a local gym and went to a local dentist. At some point, police believe he broke into a pawn shop and stole a gun. But even more surprisingly, maybe, was that Manchester also enjoyed helping out with Wednesday night Bible study and hanging at the church and making friends. He even gave his pastor a gift of the first 2 seasons of Seinfeld on DVD. Quote, very engaging, down to earth, nice fellow, their pastor would later say. The day after Christmas, 2004, a pretty busy time for Toys R Us, presumably, Manchester walked into the Toys R Us, also known as his home, with a gun. During the robbery attempt, employees were able to contact the authorities, who quickly arrived at the store. Though Manchester escaped before their arrival, police got plenty of intel about him, first from their dogs, who scented out about $7,000 worth in toys that Manchester had hidden above the ceiling tiles. They knew, in a way, that the call was coming from inside of the house. A few days later, a Charlotte police officer named Fred Allen was patrolling the empty Circuit City when he noticed something odd. Although the vacant store had its electricity on, one part of the store was completely dark. When Alan approached the dark spot, he saw something that he'd never seen before. A makeshift door, painted to blend in with the wall. Inside, he discovered the place that Jeffrey Manchester called home. After some thorough fingerprinting, forensics found a fingerprint in the bizarre layer that put a name to a place. The fingerprint belonged to escaped convict Jeffrey Manchester. Quote, "I've never seen anyone so determined," Alan told reporters. "He wasn't going to make a stupid mistake. We had to find him." Manchester's mugshot went out on the nightly news on January 2nd, and soon his dentist's office was mysteriously set on fire. Police think that this bizarre action was motivated by trying to destroy his medical records. Then, several church members who saw Manchester's mugshot called police, saying that the photo looked like their genial 33-year-old friend who had joined their church 6 months earlier. They also said that John, the man's name, had been in a relationship with a fellow churchgoer. That's when Wainscott was approached by PD with a fellow churchgoer. Then Wainscott was approached by PD with a photograph of John. There, Lee learned of her boyfriend's actual identity, and she began to realize what that meant for her relationship and family. At that point, she began to cry, but she also agreed to cooperate with police and arrange a meeting. Quote, "I was numb and in shock. I was hysterical," she said. She refused to believe that her boyfriend John was actually a criminal until they showed her evidence over the internet, she would later say. 12 hours after he set his own dentist's office on fire, on January 5th, Manchester arrived at Lee Wainscott's apartment with a bouquet of flowers, a romantic gesture for her 40th birthday. There, the police were waiting for him. Quote, "I don't hate him," Wainscott said. "I'm disappointed and confused. I don't know whether to smack him or hug him. I'm not sure if she got the chance, because Jeffrey Manchester was arrested quickly after he showed up to Lee's place." His ultimate blunder, Charlotte Police Sergeant Catherine Sheemreif told the Chronicle, was, quote, "going back for the girl one last time." Manchester was put right back into prison and is currently serving the rest of his sentence in Raleigh, North Carolina. When he is released, presumably in 2036, he will be 65 years old. Of course, there's a movie about Jeffrey Manchester in the works called Roofman with, you want to guess who the main character,
I looked
actor?
at some of his pictures. Give me a hint.
Sexy
Colin Farrell?
heartthrob. No, but goofy.
Ryan Reynolds, Chris Evans.
We're getting very, very warm.
Oh, we're getting very, very warm.
Yeah.
It's in that kind of...
In that vein of white dudes, I will say.
Ryan Gosling?
Oh, we're getting so close.
Just tell me.
Channing Tatum.
That's not close. That's not close to any of those things.
No?
No.
Like...
You think Ryan Gosling and Channing Tatum are close?
Well, they both have, like, a sense of humor about them. They both play a lot of, like... They're, like, sexy, but they play a lot of, like, goofier characters.
Yeah. Channing Tatum is not a name that comes up all that often.
Really?
Not
Maybe just
much.
in my
I
heart.
know. What is he?
I don't know.
I like Channing Tatum. I like him.
Yeah. I love him. I think he's great. Okay. Anyway, some parts of his story are very inspiring in a weird way, right? Like, there's this, like, Robin Hood type of a thing. But, of course, you know, anti-corporate vibes, all of that is great. But I think a lot of people lose, and I hope that they don't in the script if this movie does get made, because I would like to see it, that Jeffrey Manchester is a criminal who has hurt many people, and that is not likely to change, and hasn't, despite being nice, I guess. Although Manchester was always cooperative in police custody, prison records show that Manchester is not the ideal inmate that he once was, as he's attempted escapes in February 2009 and October 2017. A spokesman for the North Carolina Department of Adult Corrections said both attempts failed, yes, but declined to provide further details. Manchester's last jail infraction was for substance possession in April 2020. More mysteriously, Manchester has never explained why he committed so many crimes. Shortly after his final arrest, Manchester spoke to his mom from prison. It was recorded, of course. His demeanor, collected and calm, as usual, was still very on brand. When his mother asked him about his recapture, Manchester's answer was brief but telling. "Mom," he said, "I kind of lost focus."
Angie has made it easier than ever to connect with skilled professionals to get all your jobs projects done well. If you own a home, you know how much work it can take, Whether it's everyday maintenance and repairs or making dream projects a reality, it can be hard just to know where to start. But now, all you need to do is Angie that and find a skilled local pro who will deliver the quality and expertise you need. Angie has over 20 years of home service experience, and they've combined it with new tools to simplify the whole process. Bring them your project online or with the Angie app, answer a few questions, and Angie can handle the rest from start to finish, or help you compare quotes from multiple pros and connect instantly, which means you can take care of just about any home project in just a few taps. Because when it comes to getting the most out of your home, you can do this when you Angie that. Download the free Angie mobile app today or visit Angie.com. That's ANGI.com.
Smoothie King's new lemonade lineup is here.
Lemonade, lemonade, the Smoothie King way.
Try a strawberry guava lemonade SK refresher.
Over ice.
A power up in a cup.
Energize.
Or a blueberry lemonade smoothie.
Blend it up in your cup.
Made with real fruit, real juice for a real sipping good summer.
Yum, yum, gotta get some.
Smoothie King's new lemonade lineup, all for a limited time.
Who's thirsty?